after I sold my company, I went back to university and did an MBA. Then spent 10 years as interim chief exec in different projects, mostly startups or turnarounds.
Nick, I understand that you helped a family business turn around. Can you give us a bit of background about this business and why it was in trouble?
Yeah, it was in the IT sector. Been fairly successful in the early days, but it started to lose money and run by the dad. He kept putting money in to keep it running. Quite a lot of family members in it, and it became less and less profitable, and he was putting more and more money in until he asked a friend of his who was in business, could he come and help? I knew the friend who said, would I be willing to go in as chief exec, and he'd take the role of chairman. So I was happy to go in and give some advice.
And why was it going wrong?
The main reason was the business had almost no KPIs, so on a daily basis they had no real idea of where the business was, what it was doing, what different parts of the business were doing. All they knew was they were short of cash, and the family members carried on as if it was still, an opportunity for them to get their cars filled up, to have meals on the company, and no change of behaviour whatsoever.
And what did you do when you arrived?
When I first got involved with the business, I did some research on what was going on and presented the father, who was the principal in the whole family business, with the various options so that he could make a choice. The first one was that he could carry on as he was doing. He'd have to keep putting in progressively more money into the business, and there was no real likelihood of any change, that it would just be more of the same. The second was to start to get a grip on the cash and to consider a CVA so that he could pay off some of the debts that were now, the balance sheet was an absolute disgrace, so that would be the next step. And the final choice was to put the business into liquidation and consider starting again or not.
And what did he go for?
Reluctantly, he chose the last option, but in my view it was the only practical option because of the huge debts on the balance sheet, and it would have been unsupportable any other way.
And what happened after that?
I took the role in the new company of chief exec and negotiated with the administrator to buy the assets of the business and the staff, of course. But the real challenge was to try and turn it into an operating business that was profitable. And part of my role was to look at the value that the family members were adding to the business. And the result was, after I finished my role there, that the father had retired, the cousin had resigned, the son's wife had terminated her department entirely, and her brother had left. So we got from 5 family members who were not only dysfunctional working together, but not really effective as business people, down to 1 which was much tighter and more effective as a business.
And with hindsight, what would you say about family businesses and what they should watch out for?
I've got a lot of sympathy for the father. Being in that position with family members in the business, doing any sort of a turnaround is challenging, and usually outside the competence of many people who are running an operating business. It's a different skill set. So to take that challenge on is tough, but to take it on and make those difficult decisions with your family is even worse. And I think the message for me is it's much easier to get someone from outside to be, if you like, the doctor and administer the medicine, because that makes it much easier for the family to continue to have a relationship, because, unlike a normal business, you continue to have a relationship with these people when it's all over.